Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my bedroom in the great state of Kansas. And I wanted to talk about the new Super Mario movie, Super Mario Galaxy. Just came out this last, I think, April 1st. So just this last week. Anyways, and yeah, I was pretty excited because I actually really liked the first Super Mario World or Super Mario Brothers movie. And it's just so cool that we're getting Mario in an actual movie, because I came back in the day. I saw Super Mario Brothers in theater back in the 90s, the live action one. And yeah, it was pretty terrible, though I did like it as a kid. I did see why nobody likes that movie. So, man, so long. Never thought I'd see Mario in a movie. And then when that first movie came out, man, it was just a lot of fun. I was a little skeptical because I thought, how are they going to make a story out of a movie or a story out of a video game that really isn't based on a big story necessarily? It's just mostly based on really fun game playing. The platform style is it's the best platform game series franchise ever made. But I can't wait going, man, that was so fun. And so coming to Super Mario Galaxy, I kind of have the same feelings as the first movie. Um, and I'll say there's a lot of criticism about the story and character development and also like that. And I think I would agree with a lot of this criticism there. I don't think it's the best story I've seen at an animated movie. I don't think a lot of the characters are that great. They're fine. Um, Except for Bowser. Bowser is definitely the best character in the movie, as he was the best character in the first Super Mario movie. And he's definitely the funniest character. He's got the most laughs. It's funny, he's the villain, kind of somewhat of the story, yet he's the most fun. I love how they kind of dealt with, because Bowser doesn't really have a personality in the video games. So they had kind of free will to just do whatever they want with this Bowser character and it reminds me a lot of the Sonic movies. I think of the Sonic movies kind of similar to the Super Mario movies, in that Sonic doesn't really have that big of a story or anything. It's just about the gameplay, just about the platforming. And they took a really interesting idea. They made Sonic, who doesn't have that big of a personality in the games, and they gave him a really fun personality. And then also with the villain, Jim Carrey just absolutely is awesome as the villain, who's not a funny villain, but again, because they have these video games that aren't big on plot and story, they were able to kind of do whatever they want. So similarly to that, I'm going on Sonic here, but this is similar to that in that they're able to give Bowser a funny character, of course, and all that's because of Jack Black is so great as the voice actor. Jack Black, one of the greatest voice actors I think we have. I mean, obviously Kung Fu Panda is so amazing. Him as Poe, but I've seen him do voice acting. Anytime he comes in with a voice, it's usually very good, and he usually makes it his own and all that. And he does the same here with Bowser. He makes Bowser his own, and he's probably got some free range to maybe improvise or to really play with his character. And he made such a fun character that I really love Bowser, even though he's kind of the villain of the story. I like him more than any other characters. Anyways, yeah, so all that is, I get all the criticism, but I guess to me, the way I look at it is that the fact that we even have a Mario movie, I think, is such a win. And I'm not surprised the story is not the greatest. It doesn't have the best plot development. It doesn't have the best plot twist necessarily. It doesn't take you on an emotional roller coaster at all. And it's really a little bit funny, but not incredibly funny either. It's just a couple laughs, you know, it's very similar to that first movie. Yeah, it doesn't have all that, but what it does have is it's a lot of fun, and a lot of that for me is being someone who's a big Mario fan who played Mario on Nintendo, played it on the Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, played Mario 64 when that came out, Mario Sunshine when the GameCube came out. I mean, I've played all the Marios many times. I'm a big fan of the Mario series, and going way back, like I said, even on the Game Boy, playing the Super Mario Land. And saying all that, I love all the references. I got all the references. Like, there's a villain in this movie, a kind of a minor villain that shows up, and I knew it was like, oh, that's the villain from Super Mario 2 on the Nintendo. And I was like, that's pretty funny because that's not one of the most popular video games in the Mario franchise, but I was like, oh, that's so cool. They brought in the villains from, and not just the main villain, but other villains from that video game that you don't talk about much. And there's all references all over, like even Koopa Jr., the bad guy, who I thought was actually a pretty good villain. I like because he has the magic paintbrush. And that all comes from Mario Sunshine's really from the GameCube is where I remember Koopa Jr. kind of becoming a main villain of that story. And so it felt like they brought him out just from that video game. And I thought it worked really well. I even kind of liked the relationship between Bowser and Koopa. Like it was kind of this nice father-son relationship. Somehow kind of worked for me as well. Um, uh, but yeah, saying all that, it is a really well like it looks great. Like the animation is great. Illumination does a great job here. There's some great sequences of traveling through space that is very fun to watch, and I think yeah, it's shot very well at times. There's some scenes I absolutely love, and I say the action sequences are the best parts of the movie. There's a lot of good action scenes that I'm like, wow, this is really well choreographed and made, and kind of made me kind of I'm a really take notice because I have to admit some of the story moments may be a little boring at times. It seems like there's two adventures going on. Peach and Toad has their own adventure. They go off on their own. Then Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi and Bowser kind of have their own adventure. So it's kind of weird that they have like these two different adventures, almost like two different movies within the movie. And so when it goes back and forth between each story, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm more interested in this part of the story or this part of the story. And it seems like they take a lot of tangents to get to the main end. In fact, when we got to the end, I remember I was looking at the time and I was like, wow, it seems like there's not much time left. We're gonna have to fit the whole ending in like this short amount of time, and they did in that short amount of time. But I almost felt like they rushed the ending a little bit, and that a lot of side quests happen. Like there's a whole thing where the Mario and Luigi get turned into babies, and they have to turn back into adults. And it seemed like a side quest that we didn't need, but obviously it's also a reference to a Mario video game of the on Super Nintendo, the Yoshi game, where you have a crying baby Mario on the back of Yoshi. Anyway, so they did use that as kind of a reference to Mario, but I have to say some of those moments, like even like meeting a certain character from another video game, it was like, did we need that character? It felt like it was just kind of shoehorned in, and just it felt like they didn't have enough story to fill in this movie. They had to kind of come up with all these side quests that kind of fill in until they get to the main kind of climatic scene where they have to go up against Bowser and Bowser Jr. and all that. Anyways, so I don't know. To me, like I said, story could have been done better, I think. But like I said, there's some really fun sequences. Even meeting Yoshi was a really fun when Yoshi comes out of the pipe and we see this scene of him like walking through different areas and the scene changes, but he doesn't. We just see the back view of Yoshi. Like I thought that was really cool. There was a cool scene where they're going from one planet and they have to use these stars to like shoot them through space, which is from the Super Mario Galaxy video games, and they have to dodge like meteorites, and that was so fun. That was really wonderfully shot. There's another scene where Mario and Peach are trying to get to the Bowser and Koopa, and Koopa's kind of controlling these traps for them, all these different traps that they have to dodge. And it felt like the actual platforming video game where at times it was like a 2D side scroller. And so I love how they played with that and went out from like 3D to 2D kind of, I don't know. That was a very fun sequence as well, and how that all came about. And then the absolute best scene of the movie, I think, is when Bowser and his son Koopa Jr. have to fight Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi. That is such a fun battle sequence between. At first, it's just Mario, but then Luigi and Yoshi show up. And you're like, oh, all right, and they have power ups, and so they're using their power ups, and that was a really great scene. Like I said, all the action sequences are really well done. Overall, I would say, yeah, not a great movie, but a fun movie. If you like this, like the first movie, I think you like the second movie. My big criticism of the movie really is that I wish it was funnier. I didn't really laugh as much as I thought I should, especially when you have Chris Pratt and Charlie Day. I mean, obviously Jack Black, I said, is funny in the movie, but I don't know. I wish we got more humor out of the Mario and Luigi characters with Charlie Day and Chris Pratt. I don't know. I just felt like those characters could be funnier, or could have more funnier scenes, and that might just be me because I remember there's scenes where they're doing stuff that was kind of supposed to be funny, but for me it felt like it didn't land, and I felt like it was more kid humor. Like I think kids will absolutely love this movie. This movie obviously is gonna make like $1 billion, like the last movie, and I think kids will love this movie. I think they will laugh out loud. I can imagine kids just want to keep watching these two movies. And that's one of those things. It's like for me, if I was a kid, if I was a 10-year-old, I would love the humor. As a 42-year-old, the humor, and it felt a little kiddish to me. So that was a little disappointing that I couldn't have done better than that. But that's the only major criticism I have, really. Besides, like, if I compare it to other great animation movies, I would say it's not as good. I wouldn't say it was as good as Zootopia 2. I think it was a better movie. This is just recent movies I'm thinking of. Wild Robot was a much better movie. Transformers 1 was a much better movie. Cross the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse are much better movies. Those are some of the best animation movies that came out in recent years. This isn't on that level. It's a little below that level, but still, like I said, it's still good. It's still a lot of fun. I think, like I said, and especially if you love the old Mario games like me, I love all the nostalgia references. That's something I get out of it. Plus, like I said, it was really the action sequences were really well done, and it was really kind of, well animated and, beautiful to look at. So there's a lot of that stuff that I think helps the movie overall. So yeah, I don't think you can expect one of the greatest animation movies going in, but just expect it to be not plot heavy, but just there to have a lot of fun sequences. I don't think most people will be disappointed. Anyways, I think I might like the first movie a little bit better than this one, but it's hard. I haven't seen the first movie in a little while. I would say on first watch, they're both very similar to me as much as my enjoyment of the movie, and I hope they keep making these. I don't know. I'm on board with kind of like the Sonic movies. I enjoy the Sonic movies. They're silly, stupid at times, but I have fun with those Sonic movies. I have fun with these movies too. Yeah, keep making them. They're making money. Hope they keep, doing other franchises. Nintendo, of course. I know they're doing Zelda as a live action, which I'm kind of confused. I thought we would get like another animation movie with them. Like we could do Donkey Kong, which didn't show up in this movie, but was in the first movie. Like you can do Donkey Kong, you can do Star Fox, maybe Metroid. I don't know. I would love to see more of these video games get adapted now that the Super Mario franchise is doing so well. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on Super Mario Galaxy. Please feel free to give me your thoughts if you like this movie or not and all that. And besides that, thanks so much for watching this video. Thanks so much for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate y'all. I hope you have a good day.